Sousa with lindasousa.com, enjoying the journey. And I'm going to make a cauliflower puree. So it's almost like mashed potatoes, except it's with cauliflower. We found a recipe online not too long ago. My sister-in-law was interested in making a cauliflower pizza crust. And so there's some great recipes out there to do that. And you would, take the cauliflower and you can, actually this is the blender, but we have our food processor. You can, use the food processor to break it down and then make a crust so you can actually have a pizza with a cauliflower crust. We're not going to do that in this video, but what we're going to do in this one is we're going to make a cauliflower puree. These are beautiful, actual fresh from the farm cauliflower that we got at Tender Crop Farms. It's not far from my in-laws where they live in Dover, New Hampshire, and they have wonderful fresh fruits and vegetables there. So we picked up a couple of them, and I already took one and I've kind of broken it down. I've got some water in the bottom here because I'm going to end up steaming this. So there's water in the bottom here, and I have some cauliflower that's already broken down in here, and I'm going to do the same to this. And I'm sure you know how to break down cauliflower, but it's really pretty simple. You can either do it this way. It's not the way I did the other one, but I'm taking off I'm going to go over here, actually maybe move this over here so you can see what I'm doing, and just breaking it off, putting it all in here because I'm going to steam it. Once it's cooked, it's actually going to go into the food processor, and I'm going to whip it all up, probably with a little bit of the water from the cooking process, a touch of olive oil and some sea salt. And it's actually I'm going to use actually the stem, not the very bottom part of it, but I just want to cut off the leaves because that'll work fine there we go. I'm going to just cut that just to make it easier. I'm probably going to add a little more water. Actually, that's fine. I'm going to put this on the stove, let it cook, and then we'll come back in a little while and I'll show you how I make the cauliflower puree. Thanks. Hello again. So, that nice cauliflower that we had from Tender Crop Farms, that nice fresh cauliflower, well, it has been steamed, and here it is, and it's nice and tender. So I washed my hands. I was going to use food processor, but either food processor or blender, it doesn't really matter. And this is a really good blender, so this should do the trick. I'm going to put this right in here. I'm just going to add a touch of olive oil, but I'm going to blend this. I might even actually add some of the water. That's why I haven't thrown that away yet, to help kind of get this going. I think I might just go ahead and cover that. I'll add the rest of this in a minute. Let me see if I can break this down a little. See what happens, right? Turn that on and give it a little blend. Turn that off so I can get some more in there. Yeah, because it definitely needs a little bit of water. But you can see it's like breaking it down. I'm going to puree this, and it is going to be fabulous. Now, I'll tell you a little story about this. We have some wonderful friends who own a local restaurant in Methuen called Preludes. And during Lent, we went there on a Friday for dinner. And I got this fabulous, like probably one of the best meals I've ever had, dinner. And it was halibut. And when I tell you that this chef is Tommy Grella, he's fabulous. And he gets the really choicest, best selects of fish and meat. Everything that we've had on the menu has been absolutely delicious. And this halibut was like that thick. It was so delicious. And it was served over a cauliflower puree with, of course, I love kale, with sauteed kale. A little bit of garlic and olive oil in the kale, and this cauliflower puree, and I think he used just a little bit of water. He said, I think a little olive oil and some salt, and that was it. It was delicious. You would have thought it was mashed potatoes. It was so thick and creamy and yummy, but incredibly healthy and delicious. And of course, it's one of our favorite places. It's our go-to. We go there all the time. I say it's our indulgence place, but often we're indulging on really healthy, good food, which is a good thing. So that's kind of where I got the inspiration to do this. So it's kind of a takeoff on Tommy's. I don't know if it'll be as good as his. It was absolutely fantastic, but it's going to go with our steak tonight. We purchased last weekend. We went to see John's parents. They live in Dover. They live next to Tender Crop Farm. And so usually whenever we take a trip up there on the way back or up there, we'll stop there. And we picked up these beautiful steaks. So I'm going to season them very lightly. We're going to put them on the grill. We're going to make this wonderful cauliflower puree to go with it. And then what's left over is going to be with us for the rest of the week, because if you looked at one of the other videos that I made this morning, it is the little mini meatballs. So we can have that, little meatloaves. So we can have that with a little mini meatloaf instead of doing mashed potatoes. And we'll have some asparagus that we'll cook on the grill as well. So let's see how this goes. So I'm actually going to take, my ladle I think is in the dishwasher. So I'm just going to I'm going to just pour this in. You're not going to see my face for a second. I don't want a lot, but I just want a touch of that water just to give a little moisture. And I want a little touch of olive oil. And I don't want much. And this is sea salt. But actually what I'm going to use is some of this Himalayan sea salt in this. There we go. So we'll see. Now I've never made this before and I'm doing it on video, so we're going to see together how this is coming out. I might have should have used my food processor, because this Ninja isn't moving as quick as I want it to. Now I have to share with you something. When I make ice cream that I make with frozen bananas and frozen strawberries, it is a series of doing this and then going in with a spoon or a fork or something and kind of moving things around a bit. You got to be careful if you got it plugged in, because I need to like move things around, because the blender has all, it's kind of got all these little levels. So I'm wondering if the food processor might not have been the better choice than the blender, but we're gonna see. And I think I may need some more liquid, because I cooked this fairly well, and but I think it needs, it might need a little more liquid to help break it down a little. And I don't want to put too much because I don't want it too watery or soupy. So it's one of those things that you just got to keep trying to see how it goes. Now it looks like it's starting to move, and once it does, it'll pick up, which I think it's starting to do now. I don't know if you can see it from that distance of where the camera is, but down here it's starting to look very creamy, and it's working its way up. So I'm going to stop it. Well, maybe not. Speed it up a little. Seems to be in a good groove. I don't want to mess it up. There we go. Once it works its way to the top, it'll take everything in and start spinning and making it really creamy. I think you have to be patient, and I can be very patient, but it's not one of my strongest virtues. Oh, and it stopped, because it never goes long enough for me. But that's okay, because I want to check it out. So let me see how this is going so far. Oh my goodness, it is starting to do exactly what I wanted to do. It definitely doesn't need any more liquid. I think we've got the perfect amount of liquid. Look at that. It looks almost like mashed potatoes, right? But it does need to be mixed up just a little more just to get that part that was on the top right in there. And I really don't want to add too much olive oil because I think it's fine just as it is. I am going to taste this though because it's looking yummy. Oh my goodness. I'm like licking the spoon. This is delicious. Cauliflower, plain and simple. A little of the water that I used to steam it. A touch, you saw how much of olive oil I put in. Definitely not one of those little containers from the 21 Day Fix. Not even that. And a little Himalayan sea salt. And it tastes amazing. So I'm going to give it another little spin. Just to get that part that was on the top done. There we go. And I'm going to get a plate so I can put it on the top. I'll let it get up there. In fact, I think we're better than good. This looks phenomenal. All right, I'm not letting that go to waste. Look at that. It's delicious. It's cauliflower. It's good for you. So, this is a healthy, delicious, and yummy cauliflower mash. And, you know, I've seen like cauliflower mashed potatoes before and stuff. Never been able to perfect it or do it. Never really even had the desire to really try it or do it. So I have to thank Tommy Grella for doing it and for me tasting it and seeing how delicious it was that I had to come home and try to do it myself. Although I love when I go there and they have it. It's awesome, but it's also awesome when we're cooking at home and I can make something that's healthy, that's good, that's delicious. And so I'm taking a page from his playbook and making this fabulous cauliflower puree. It is absolutely delicious. And I love that Himalayan sea salt. It just, oh, it's so yummy. Now tell me this doesn't look like mashed potatoes because I think it looks just like mashed potatoes. And I think until you tasted it, you probably wouldn't know the difference. And even when you do, it's got really the same consistency. There's no butter. There's no cream. There's no sour cream. There's no cream cheese. There's none of all that good stuff we tend to add to our potatoes to make them all creamy and yummy. This is pure, unadulterated cauliflower. Now, my sister-in-law is into making cauliflower pizza crust. And she does something very similar to this. I'll put that right over there. To make her crust. Except I believe they use an egg to bind it. Do the same sort of thing in the blender or the food processor. Whip it all up, get it all nice and creamy. I'm not sure, they probably don't use the additional water that I use to get it as creamy as this. But I'm willing to bet you could do this, add the egg to really bind it, and then spread it out, little square, like a, you know, flatbread or round, however you want to do it on a baking sheet. And then, of course, you want to line the bottom of it with some oil, which I use my beautiful little handy dandy spray oil. And you bake it first. So it makes a nice little crust. Then you put your toppings on it. So you could make pizza with that, but we're not going to do that. We're going to use this as a beautiful base for the wonderful steak that we're going to make for dinner later on today. So this is our cauliflower puree, and we'll be back with a few more things in a few more minutes. And in the meantime, I just might lick the spoon.